All right, so if you guys saw my SNES restoration series, at least part 2, you know when I tried testing the Super Game Boy, it did not have any Game Boy audio. So I said I would probably do a future video on it, take it apart, take a look just to see if there's anything wrong. So we're going to do that today. I've already taken the screws out just to make it easier and faster to do this. And even before I took these screws out, I noticed something, and I'll show you in a bit. But in case you've never seen the inside of one before, this is it. It's effectively a Game Boy that just routes all of its functions into the Super NES. So it routes the audio to the Super NES, controller, inputs, video, etc. But you've got the actual CPU here, although they're calling it the SGB CPU, but this is just a Game Boy CPU. You've got memory and all that fun stuff. But the one thing I noticed when I first opened it up, that right there, that is corrosion, and it looks like the trace itself might even be damaged. There's a little bit more starting here, and we'll get to why in a second. But it also started to spread. Let's see if I can focus right here as well. Not good. Now, the reason that happened is, and you can even see it more here on this side, that's just almost all gone. And I think that was it. It hadn't quite reached on this side yet. But it's because of one of these 3 capacitors. Now, this one here looks fine. But if you see this, there's a little bit of dullness on this solder pad there. This capacitor is most likely leaking. This one might be too, but it's hard to say if it's fluid from here that got to here or what. And looking even closer now that I can see a little bit of possible corrosion right there in this giant via here or whatever that actually is. So, oh, and speaking of vias, that via right there also has a little bit of damage on it. There was something here, might just be flux residue or dust. This here, though, might be something to look out for as well. A little bit of scratched PCB, so it's possible someone was in this before me. But there's some flux residue for sure. So yeah, that's a little troublesome. I mean, it plays games just fine, just with the audio. So all I have to do is take a look at it, and I'm going to have to replace the capacitors for sure, and hopefully I've got some. If not, I'll have to order them. Now, I really don't want to have to replace these because I'm not great at removing surface mount components. However, you can get a better look at the corrosion that's there on the negative post here and here. And then the via by 64 up there. It's got some serious corrosion there as well. So yeah, this cap for sure has to go C8, C10, or C9 probably too, and might as well do C7. One thing that's nice about this board is that it's got the values labeled. You know, like this one here, C7 is 22 microfarad, 6.3 volts. C8's 4.7 microfarad, 25 volt, and C9 is the same thing. So if I've got these in stock, it should be easy to replace, but I'm also have to do some cleanup. Like I got an issue with the via here and here as well. This entire board might need some cleaning. Could also just be some flux residue, and gonna have to go ahead and remove those caps. Like I said, throw some vinegar down to try to clean up some of the corrosion, clean it up with some IPA. This is where I wish I had a ultrasonic cleaner, but I'll make do with what I've got. All right, so give it a little bit of a cleaning just to get a better look at the potential damage, and it's not really all that bad. I mean, yeah, the traces obviously might need to be double checked, and obviously these little gold fingers are a little corroded, but I don't think it's terrible. I'm pretty sure that this can be salvaged without too much issue. First, I'm going to do though is remove these 3 caps so we can get underneath them and clean everything up. And I did check to see if I had good replacements. I have replacements for these 2. I technically have one for this, but it's larger, unfortunately. And I don't know if it will actually fit, so that could be a problem. I mean, this one doesn't look like it needs to be replaced, but if I'm going to do the other two, I might as well do that one. We'll see. All right, I'm going to turn the fan on to give me a little bit of an exhaust here. So it might get a little loud. What we're going to do first is put a little bit of flux on here and some fresh solder to get them all primed up and make it easier for removal. Now there's a few different ways you can go about removing them. Some people like to take them and twist them off, separating them from the plastic base. There's different arguments for that. Another method you can use is hot air gun over the area, and then you just pull them off with a set of tweezers or something like that. The method that I'm going to attempt to use is just to use a pair of tweezers, heat up one side, and carefully lift the one side, and then lift the other side, and hopefully that'll work. So, all right, now let's see if I can do this without wrecking it anymore. Oh, that just came right up. That pad might have been destroyed by the, I'll have to take a closer look and once I get it cleaned up. Pad might be fine. Definitely dirty, and I'm going to have to use some vinegar to clean up some of the electrolytic fluid that's still there, and then neutralize that with some IPA. And I've got to retouch this capacitor here because I might have put a little bit of a blob there. And I'll go ahead and get some vinegar on there and let it soak for, I don't know, 5 minutes maybe, just to be safe. And then neutralize with some IPA. So I'm going to go ahead and more flux, pre-tin the pads, and then we'll continue. And while that's heating up, go ahead and put the flux down. Don't need a ton, but it doesn't hurt if you have too much other than your wallet, so. Okay, that should be enough. Now there's different ways to go about this, about how to reattach capacitors, solder new capacitors on. One method is you can sit there and heat the area up with a hot air gun and then just pick in place with some tweezers. Another method is just to tin one pad down, solder on one leg, and then solder the other leg on. I'm going with this method here, and just because of the fact that these leads are really small and they don't stick out very far. And I'm worried because of the fact that it's a smaller footprint that I may not get them installed easily. So let's see if I can do this or not. I've never actually soldered surface mount components before, so this will be interesting. Then we'll switch it to this side here. See, is that on? Let's shift it a little bit, which is a problem. Maybe I should have done it the other way. Well, that's not even adhered. See? I should have done it the one leg at a time method, but so be it. Yeah, that'll do. 2 more to go. And then the last one, which is the larger capacitor. This one's going to be trickier because of the size. There isn't just not enough of the pad there. To tack it in place. I think that's it though. Crooked, but as long as they hold on, I'm not concerned about them being crooked. I'm more concerned about them actually connecting. Well, they don't move, so maybe that's good. Again, not my best work, but it'll do. And this isn't a tutorial so much as it is just for entertainment. Go ahead and critique my skills. In the end, as long as it's working, that's all that matters to me. Yeah, there's all that extra flux that Nintendo likes to leave on their boards. One thing that does have me a little concerned is this finger here with the little black mark underneath. I could, in theory, scrape away the solder mask and attempt to clean that, but I also run the risk of damaging that pin, which is 31. It goes up to this via here, which comes up near C8. I'm not sure where it goes to, but I don't want to risk actually damaging it, so I think I'll just leave it for now. If it becomes a problem, then I'll have to do something about it. I'm gonna finish cleaning this off camera and we'll give it a test. So I checked everything out for continuity. It seems to be there, so I think we're gonna be in good shape. Let me go ahead and get this back together. We'll test it out. Alright, sorry it's a little dark, but I want it to be easier to see the CRT's screen. Here goes nothing. Yes! And well, there we go. We have a successful repair. Again, not the best job in the world in terms of my soldering skills, but it works. So if your Super Game Boy isn't outputting any audio, more than likely those capacitors are there. In fact, even if it is working, if it hasn't been recapped yet, I recommend doing it just because it's more than probable that those caps will start leaking soon. If you guys have any tips or suggestions for next time when I'm doing the capacitors, let me know. Maybe I'll try to find some with longer leads or something like that. But otherwise, that's it for this video. You know the usual stuff, like, dislike, leave a comment below, subscribe, don't. I do appreciate it though, I appreciate you guys, and well, that's all. I'll catch y'all later.